Hi out there. It's me, Steve. No, I'm playing. Hey, so look, this is another video on writing. This video is strictly on power systems. Now, I would say this is number one. It's okay to have more than one power system because I feel like one issue that a lot of people have is they're always focused on having one perfect power system. You don't have to have one perfect power system. I also feel like people get that nervous anxiety because they feel like if their power system is not unique enough, people won't like it or people are going to bash it because they're like, oh, this is too simple. Because we have hard power systems and we have soft power systems. An example of a soft power system would be something like the Devil Fruits from One Piece. Something that would be a hard power system would be something on the lines of Nin from Hunter x Hunter, which has a whole bunch of different categories, enhancer, transmuter, etc., etc. But there's nothing wrong with having multiple power systems or having multiple soft power systems, multiple hard power systems. It all comes from you. I'll use an example from my novel. I have like 7 different power systems. One power system I have is them using literal cards to fight. Another one I have is them using dreams to fight. Another one I have is them using life energy to fight. Another thing I have is a thing called death candies that's very similar to devil fruits. But the way they get it is different and the weaknesses they have is different. It's more similar to Pokemon. It's kind of inspired by One Piece and Pokemon. I have something that's also inspired by One Piece where I have these things called like death monsters, which is pretty similar to Pokemon, you know. And then I have ninjas and stuff like that. So there's nothing wrong with having multiple power systems, taking inspiration from different places, and being okay with that and not getting scared that your power system isn't complicated enough or it's too simple or it's too boring and blah 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 blah. Okay, Dragon Ball Z is one of the most iconic, most well-known anime of all time, and their power system is the most simple thing. They literally shoot out lasers. It's called Ki. They shoot out Ki Blast. Kamehameha. It's the most simple thing ever, but it's literally the most iconic thing ever. So don't assume that your power system is just not good enough to be iconic if that's what you're also worried about, because it might become iconic even though it's very simplistic. There's nothing wrong with your power system being very simple. There's nothing wrong with it being complicated. But at the same time, and I'm talking to you white guys mostly, you do not want to make your power system too overly complicated where people have to sit here and figure it out like it's a math problem. That's the one big issue that a lot of white guys have is when they make their power system too complicated, too complex, and people are like, what the heck is this? Okay, everything doesn't have to be overly complicated to that degree. I will use One Piece one more time. One Piece is cool because One Piece is usually complicated and simple at the same time. That's what makes it so good. Sometimes it's okay to have a simple storyline and make it longer and deeper, or have a simple power system and use it still in unique ways. You can still use a simple power system in unique ways, make the fights interesting, make the story around it interesting, make the story around getting the power interesting. You know, for example, getting the fire fruit in Dressrosa. That was interesting. That story around there being a giant gladiator fight just to get that flame fruit. That's pretty freaking interesting. He made the whole story around the dang power interesting. You could do that. Make it unique when they're going to get the power. For example, with mine, you have to literally to be able to get a death candy, you have to be able to lucid dream, which is actually pretty hard to do. So it makes it fun and unique. I'm not going to tell too much about my story because I want to like stealing too much stuff. But which, if you did take my stuff and like it was inspired by it, it's not like the same thing. I probably would be still kind of like, oh, that's pretty cool, as long as it's a little different. But yeah, the whole point when it comes to power systems is you don't have to think too hard. Um, don't make it so. Don't make it a stressful situation when creating a power system because it doesn't have to be. You know. But you could also create a power system that, helps the plot. Like I said, Oda is really intelligent. Sometimes he'll make devil fruits that help make the plot go on, which is crazy. Like some of his devil fruits is so unique. There's one that what is his name? Doflamingo's brother. He has like this devil fruit where basically you can put this like shield around you and you can't hear what people are talking about in the shield. It's a pretty cool power. You know, only Oda can think of something like that because his brain is just on max storytelling and just max. He's just maxed out, bro. Dude is maxed out in his story building and manga writing stats. You know, as people, we gotta get maxed out in every stat. Is, you know, if you, even though it will burn you out though, getting maxed out in every stat can still mean that you might get a sickness or illness because you're working too hard. He's got a couple of illnesses, you know, getting sent to the hospital and things like that. He's also taking his break right now because he's having surgery on his eyes, you know, things of that nature and whatnot. But I would say you want to make your power system interesting. It doesn't really have to be super unique. It doesn't have to really be super deep, but you can literally make everything around it deep if you want to. I mean, that can still make your power system interesting just because the story around it is interesting. It is what it is. But I hope you find something in this video that helps you. I love you guys. I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening. Peace and blessings. Please stay well, stay healthy. I'd say get in the gym if you're you know, if you're feeling really, really bad or really, really sick. But I wish the best for all you guys, and I hope you guys stay inspired and loved and cherished. Peace and blessings. Take care.